Hello, my wonderful audience. Welcome to Story Thief. Thank you for your continued support and showing interest in stories. I won't be able to monetize due to copyright issues. If you wish to support me, you can find the donation link in the description of my channel. Well, let's get into the story.
Rio yelped as he fell into the water. "Who did that?" he asked when his head was back above the surface. He looked around and saw Emily. He laughed. "What the heck, Emily?" The other children laughed too. Emily felt very grown up next to Rio and his friends. She patted some of them on the head indulgently. Emily's fun fair wasn't as exciting to her as it had once been. At first, she had felt that it was torture if she couldn't play there twice a day. But as time had passed, she had gotten accustomed to all of its entertainments. She no longer came every day, but she still thought it was still a nice place to spend some of her free time. She laughed and went after the other children, dumping them into the water one by one. At a distance underneath the heavenly tree, Cameron paused as he refined a treasure. He watched the children and smiled. Such a comfortable life was simply unimaginable in the Colossus world. After Emily had exhausted herself from playing, she returned to the castle, took a shower, and had dinner. She needed to go to bed at a reasonable hour so she could get to school on time in the morning. Final exams were coming up, so she had to concentrate on studying for the next few days. Emily was soon asleep, but Jessica and Cameron's day was far from over. "Are you ready?" Jessica asked. She had changed into her black fighting clothes. "I guess it's time to see what we can get out of Surya." "I can do it. Just watch me." Jessica stuck out her chin determinedly. "All right." Cameron laughed. He had noticed that as Jessica increased her cultivation and developed powerful attacks, his mood had become lighter. Her former anxiety over her growth had affected him more than he had realized. "Let's go," she said. They held hands and jumped down from the balcony. Milton, who had just come back, was drinking tea with Michael, Victor, and Franco in the pavilion underneath the heavenly tree. They had heard about Cameron and Jessica's plan and wanted to see how it played out. "Where are we going?" Michael asked. "To the sea." Cameron headed out over the water, and everyone else followed him. Half an hour later, they stopped above a small island. "Sea Moon fan," Jessica muttered softly. The fan she produced was huge. With a slow fluctuation, it created a strong gust of wind that dispersed the black clouds in the sky and revealed the moon, which shone down like a gigantic spotlight. Afterward, the night was quiet and still. "Surya, are you there?" Jessica demanded. There was no answer. Jessica moved her hand, and the Sea Moon fan came down. The small island was smashed into smithereens, and as the ground continued to shake, great waves arose and pummeled the shore. Energy ripples went out in all directions. It was only when Michael and Franco saw a tsunami coming that they used their powers in conjunction and managed to calm the turmoil. Jessica looked around. He still hasn't shown himself? She started to raise her hands again and send another attack. But just then, a door of light appeared in front of them, and Surya walked out. He looked annoyed. "Anybody would think a demon had arrived," he told Cameron coldly. Then he noticed Jessica, and his expression changed. He laughed bitterly. "Oh, so you've come to threaten me again?" "I just needed to get your attention," Jessica replied. "We want something from you." "Didn't I give you a jewel?" "Ah, it's on your daughter." "Surya, you say that I knew your master before. If you're a friend, treat me like one," Jessica told him. Surya shook his head. "I'm afraid nothing good will come from it." "What do you want?" "Clifford and Ink. Did they get their power from you?" Jessica asked. "Yes." Surya suddenly had a bad feeling. "My husband wants source energy." "How much?" "How much do you have?" Surya unhappily glanced at Cameron. "I doubt he needs them. I know what kind of power he already possesses." Jessica scowled and shifted impatiently, and Surya hurried to placate her. "I just mean that at his level, he doesn't need these in order to be the strongest person in the room. He can already take on anybody at the early Aura's core stage. But I'm currently lacking in the origin attribute." Cameron said. "You lack source energy?" Surya was shocked. "I can see that you have quite a few divine powers. So this is unexpected. Wait, what do you even know about source energy properties?" "I know that what Warwick obtained is the source energy of the 4th stage Devil Aura," Cameron said. "So Clifford and Ink should have obtained the source energy of the Double Sea Tide, which is also the 4th stage. Tell me if I'm right." Surya, with a stupefied expression, shook his head. "Cameron, I have truly underestimated you. I didn't expect you to be able to see through me like this. Are you really that man's biological son?" He pointed at Michael. "I'm not as weak as you think I am," Michael snapped. "In 4 generations of the Lee family, You're the only one who never attained great power. Surya told him. Don't speak to my father-in-law like that. Jessica's eyes suddenly flashed with fire. Surya held up his hands. Fine. Pretend I didn't say anything. It's good to have a daughter-in-law like her, Michael said, placing his hand on Jessica's shoulder. I'd watch what I say around her if I were you. I need the source energy of the 5 elements, Cameron said, getting back to the point. Tell me how. 5 elements? Surya raised his eyebrows. If you can't absorb all 5 types of essences, they'll disperse. That's why I refined the spirit sealing pill. Cameron held out his fist and opened it. A small red pill sat on his palm. A 6th level pill. You can refine something of that level here? Surya's eyes stared wide in disbelief. Looks like you came prepared. A sealing spirit pill of that grade, when consumed, was able to temporarily seal the origin energy inside the energy center. Such a pill was priceless in the Colossus world. Surya himself had never expected to see one. Whatever. I'll give you the 5 types of source energy. An orb appeared in Surya's hand. And what level will they be? Cameron asked. 4th stage like the others got? At most, it'll be the 3rd level. Surya replied. Kid, you have quite the ambition. The 3rd stage is enough. Cameron said with a laugh. Thank you for your help, Surya. Don't mention it. It's all because of your wife. Surya glanced at her uneasily. Here are the 5 source energies I'm giving you. Heart Flame, Golden Illusion, Pear Blossom, Soundless Water, and Amber Earth. Are you sure you want them? And the time it takes to refine this. Infuse it with your sacred art. Perhaps you will miss out on the Lost Continents trial. How long do you think it will take? Cameron asked. Half a month. Surya replied. It won't take me that long. If you say so. Surya didn't care whether Cameron succeeded or not. He waved his hand, and 5 streams of energy appeared. Cameron didn't waste time with words. He immediately swallowed the pill and extended his hand, absorbing and sealing the 5 essences around the golden core. Don't cultivate haphazardly, Surya advised. With this, do you think I can become the sacred leader of the Sky Soul space? Cameron asked casually. Not necessarily. Surya shrugged. Jessica definitely won't hold that position because she's transcended this world. There are a few other people who might be able to, but I think that you have a higher probability of succeeding since you have the inheritance. However, it's hard to say. It all depends on luck. Even I can control the outcome, and if I could, I wouldn't give the title to you. He turned back toward the door. All right, if there's nothing else, I'm going back to sleep. He muttered as he waved his hand to pull out the door of light. Wait a minute, Jessica ordered. What now? Surya looked at her warily. You already gave source energies to Clifford and Ink. You're handing them out like candy. Why don't you give some to Michael? He would make good use of it. Michael smiled proudly at his daughter-in-law. Surya sighed. All right, I'll give it to him. Franco laughed dryly. Are you giving source energies to everyone who asks? I just broke through to the Oris core stage a few days ago. What will you give to us? He gestured at himself and Victor. You want an essence with such little amplitude. Aren't you afraid of wasting it? Surya looked at him unhappily. Yes, we can't compare to you, but at least we're in the alchemy stage. You and I are very similar, actually. You're the steward of Paladin, and I'm the steward of Tanager Mountain. Our groups are allies. Surya's face darkened at that, but Jessica coughed lightly and he looked at her. Take it! Surya flung out a couple more 4th stage source energies. Thank you, Surya. Franco said solemnly. Surya glared at Victor. It's not yet time for you to use it. It would be a complete waste. Jessica cleared her throat. Surya, you're a good person. In fact, you're so good that I know you would want the rest of our people to have source energies too. Mickey and Patricia don't have them, nor does Cameron's grandfather. And Ash, Jim, Bogdan, Maya, Kevin, Yakov, Winston, Brennan. Stop talking. I don't have that many, and I don't want to waste them on people who can't use them. Surya, you said you'd help us. Jessica reminded him. It's fine if you don't have enough for all our people. We'll take what we can get. Surya's expression changed several times. But in the end, he said weakly, Then you must promise me that this will be the last time. Don't come asking for more. Tanager Mountain and New Moon Mountain have so many people. It's impossible for me to give them to everyone. Thank you, Surya. Jessica said, We don't need them for everyone. Just tell us who gets each one, and we'll hand them out. We trust your judgment. Surya laughed helplessly, but but he got started. For Patricia, he sent a source of scarlet fire, which would be useful for her to fuse with her bloodline power. He didn't know much about Milton, but for him, he gave a source energy of purple sun. Maya's techniques focused on concealment, so he gave her the shadowless flower, and he sent the same to Jim, Ash, and Kevin. As for Chase, he got the source energy of the profound stone. Finally, Surya raised his head to look at Cameron. Enough. Cameron affirmed, "Thank you, Surya. Have a good night's sleep." Jessica raised her head in acknowledgement to him. She was satisfied with what he had done. Exhausted, Surya entered the light door and disappeared. "I really owe him a huge favor this time," Cameron said lightly. "Cameron, how precious are these source energies?" Jessica asked. "They can only be used during the Tribulation Realm stage. They're even precious in the Divine World. Surya would never have given them to all these people if you hadn't been the one asking." "Then I won't just randomly bid from now on," Jessica promised. "And I'll be really nice to Surya the next time I see him." Cameron laughed just as the light door appeared again, and Surya walked out. "You're back?" Jessica was startled. "I forgot to tell you something," Surya said. "Those who obtain the source energy will have to participate in the trials in the Lost Continent. Tell your people to quickly absorb it and not hesitate when the time comes. Also, the trials in the Lost Continent are not limited to the inhabitants of Paladin. Warriors at the pinnacle of powers in the Dragon Star domain will also be there. If your people aren't careful, they will die." Once again, Surya disappeared into the door with a flash of light and shadow. "The Lost Continent actually has cultivators from the Dragon Star domain," Michael mused. "This is going to be interesting. Now I'll finally see something of the universe." "Cameron, do you know about the Dragon Star domain?" Milton asked. "From your conversation with Surya, it sounds like you're familiar with it." "Yeah, I definitely know that place." Cameron muttered to himself for a moment, and then he explained. "Not only humans, but also other races are there, such as the warriors from the ancient caves, Shadow Clan. If the Holy Martial Realm hasn't been sealed, a group of Tribulation cultivators from their race could definitely appear. And aside from the Shadow Clan, there are countless other creatures out there in the universe. The scale of the Dragon Star domain is far greater than you can imagine. You need to tell Emily about this," Michael said with a laugh. "It's time for that little girl to see something worth seeing." "Let's not tell her right away," suggested Jessica. "We'll surprise her when we go to the Lost Continent." "I think she'll definitely be surprised." Cameron smiled. "Let's go back. I feel like I'm going to keel over soon." Milton complained. "I can't hold on to the energy I just absorbed. I have to go back and cultivate. I feel that once I finish absorbing it, I'll be able to break through to the peak of the Aura's core stage." "You've definitely outdone yourself this time, Jessica. You're the star of this trip." Milton remembered everything that Jessica had done, and as he thought about the treasure he had obtained, he was truly moved from the bottom of his heart. "No need to thank me," replied Jessica. "You're family, so naturally I will do everything I can for you." Cameron put his arm around Jessica's waist. "Let's go home. Starting tomorrow morning, I need to work on absorbing the source energy." The group quickly flew toward Nemoon Mountain. In the Colossus world, Ash and Vanessa were sightseeing. "Ash, when do you think we should have children?" Vanessa asked. "I don't want to rush into it," Ash replied hesitantly. "We'd have to give up so much freedom if we had a child. I'm happy with our lives the way they are." "You're right," Vanessa said. "But my father asked me about it, so it's been on my mind." "Really? He's already badgering you about grandchildren?" "Well, his company isn't as busy as before, and he's no longer interested in development. I guess he has nothing better to do. But even if he hadn't said anything, it's still something we should think about." Ash was about to respond, but at that moment, something appeared a few hundred feet above his head. "What's that?" Instantly, his sharp gaze turned to the object, and when he discovered that it was a ball of energy, his eyes lit up. "Found it. Hurry and inform Mickey and the others," he said excitedly. The next moment, the ball of energy struck down, mercilessly smashing into Ash's head. Ash was confused and disoriented, and everything seemed to be spinning as he looked at Vanessa. "Quick, notify Mickey," he whispered weakly. He no longer was thinking of the prize he had found for the boss. He just wanted Mickey to protect them. After Ash finished speaking, he fainted. "Ash?" Vanessa ran over to him, shocked. Then she quickly took out a talisman to notify Mickey. Mickey, who wasn't far away, had been thinking along similar lines as Vanessa. "What do you think about having a baby?" he asked Janet, putting his arms around her. "That would be nice," Janet replied, smiling. "Why don't we try for one right now?" Mickey said with a wink. "This is a nice little patch of grass here in the forest. It looks quite comfortable, actually." "You're crazy." Janet turned her head away. Someone could walk in and discover them. Who would find us in this ancient forest? Mickey laughed. Anyway, I have these formation flags. They'll prevent anyone from seeing or hearing us. Janet pushed him away. Did you bring those just for that purpose? She asked accusingly. Mickey took her face in his hands and kissed her. But before he could do anything more, he sensed something from the talisman. He took a step back and removed it from his pocket. Ash is looking for me. He told her. Something happened to him. He's been knocked unconscious by the energy body. Let's go take a look. However, as he spoke, a ray of source energy formed above him. A second later, it hit him in the head, just as it had done with Ash. Quickly, notify Bogdan, he said as he passed out. Janet was shocked. She took out her talisman and sent the message. 20 minutes later, Bogdan arrived. His face flushed. I'll stay with him, he told her. Go get help. He knelt on the ground next to Mickey. A short while later, Warwick arrived, bringing Vanessa and the still unconscious Ash, who was being carried by a couple of men. After talking to Vanessa and Janet, she realized that source energy had caused the issue. Interesting, she muttered. When I absorbed it, it didn't have any negative effect on me. Kevin and Bogdan felt a little lightheaded, but only Mickey and Ash actually fainted. Maybe it just depends on the person or what they're doing when they absorb it. Janet's face turned red, but she didn't say anything. What should we do now? She asked, changing the topic. We just need to wait. They'll soon recover their unconsciousness and cultivate here. Once they make a breakthrough, we'll go back and give Cameron a surprise. After about an hour, Mickey and Ash woke up. They said they could feel the energy rushing around in their bodies. They were pleasantly surprised and sat down on the ground, cultivating and absorbing the energy. After working hard at it for quite some time, they finally managed to control their rapidly increasing cultivation. They left the Colossus world and returned home. When they arrived, Warwick immediately hurried over to the Heavenly Tree, where she found Jessica. Guess what we obtained at Colossus? What is it? Energy balls right in the head. Warwick laughed. Quite a few people obtained one. Mickey, Ash. As she kept talking, Mickey looked at Jessica's happy expression. The thing we acquired. Did Cameron also acquire it? Has he broken through? He asked hesitantly. You'll have to ask him the next time you see him, Jessica replied with a slight smile. Thank you, Jessica, Mickey said. I know we have you to thank for this. You did this? Asked Warwick. You're the best. Of course she is, Patricia added with a laugh. How did you get them? Warwick wanted to know. They're from Syria. Jessica looked at them. You all have been making the best use of your time and energy to master the secret techniques after breaking through. Have you guys mastered them yet? If we don't have enough strength, we'll be in grave danger. You must focus on cultivating to full strength and perfecting your secret techniques. Is that what Cameron said we should do? Where is he? Warwick asked curiously. She wasn't used to Jessica counseling her about cultivation. After all, she didn't understand much about it. Warwick was a little skeptical about following Jessica's advice, and she would have rather spoken directly to Cameron. He asked me to tell you that he's cultivating and doesn't want to be disturbed. Oh, I understand. I'm going to go into seclusion myself then and start cultivating. Warwick departed and headed back to her own place. What's the trial of the Dragon Star domain? We're leaving Earth? Jim was having trouble wrapping his mind around it. Yes, so be prepared. Jessica smiled kindly at him. Oh my God, I'm going to another world? Jim looked at Patricia. Let's go into closed-door cultivation as well. Everyone said their farewells and left. They made sure to tell everyone else about their cultivation plans. It was unnecessary, but it was helpful to keep them focused. After all, if other people knew their goals and could hold them accountable, they were more likely to work hard. Surya could have delivered the source energy in a less dramatic way, one in which the recipients didn't even see it entering their bodies. As for the dizziness and loss of consciousness, those weren't necessary either. It had been his choice to do it that way, as some small measure of punishment. When Jessica eventually realized it, she was irritated. Time flew by very quickly. On Friday, Emily and her classmates had their final exams. The students were divided up and sent to the great halls to do their work. During the English exam, one boy saw a student from the other class writing furiously at the desk next to him. The handwriting looked very neat, and the student filled out page after page. The boy's eyes grew wide. He leaned over slowly and read a paragraph. Then he went back to his own work and copied down the same answers. Much later, when the well-prepared student walked out of the exam hall, he saw the boy he had noticed copying him. A teacher stood beside him, his hand on the regretful boy's shoulder. As for the teacher, when he swept his eyes over the room, he noticed that many of the students had their heads down and were peering closely at their papers. He shook his head at their bad posture. He blamed the large amount of time they spent staring at their phone screens. They all need glasses someday soon, he thought. Emily was very fast. When she finished her papers, there was still half an hour left before the end of the exam period. So she casually placed them in a stack on the desk and looked out the window at the basketball court. In her hand, she grasped a refining pill. She thought about finishing high school and going to college. Then she wondered what was happening back at home. What are Mom and Dad doing? Did Clifford and Ink wake up and lie on the grass all day? Her mind continued to wander. She thought about Rio and how much she was learning every day, and she wondered where her family would go on their next vacation. Maybe it would be the Maldives, Singapore, or Dubai. The supervising teacher, his hands clasped behind his back, walked slowly back and forth down the aisles. He looked at the students' papers as he went, almost imperceptibly nodding his head when he saw that they had the correct answers. The accuracy of the class was very high. He smiled. He liked students who had good study skills. Emily was very happy as she walked out of school that day. It was Friday and the school would be on winter break for the next few weeks. It's finally time for the holidays. She cheered when she got home. Jessica cleared her throat. I heard that you have quite a lot of winter homework though. Emily's smile froze on her small face. Her shoulders slumped and she sighed. Again, Mom? How do you always say such scary things when people are happy? Jessica laughed and Emily snorted loudly. I'm only saying the truth, Jessica said defensively. You do have quite a lot of homework. If you can finish it next week, I promise you I'll bring you to a particularly fun and exciting place. Emily's eyes lit up. Is it a ruin? No. Oh, is it Colossus World? No. Ancient Cave? King's Realm? Nope. Emily frowned. She didn't know what else to guess. It's somewhere very fun, very thrilling, and very exciting. Originally, I thought that it would be a pleasant surprise to just bring you there when the time comes, but then I remembered your homework and decided to use the outing as an incentive. She reached out and playfully tapped Emily on the nose. Don't keep me in suspense. Hurry up and tell me where it is. Emily urged. The Lost Continent. What's the Lost Continent? Emily blinked rapidly. That's a hidden section of the Dragon Star domain. It's huge and there are many magical places. Cameron, tell her about the magical places. She knew very little about it and called on her husband for help. The Lost Continent is floating in the universe and not moving at all. There are many other interesting places in the Dragon Star domain too, like the Milky Way Falls, which are the biggest waterfalls in the universe. It looks like a place out of the stories I used to tell you, only it's real. Wow! Emily was lost in thought for a while as she speculated about what the place was like. Then she remembered that she would see it with her own eyes soon. Really? Are we going to leave Earth and travel the universe? That's so cool! But how are we going to get there? She was suddenly suspicious. You're not trying to trick me, are you? No, it's not a trick, Jessica assured her. Then how do we get to those places? Emily asked. Someone will take us out. Cameron explained. You don't need to worry about the details. With Earth technology, we can't travel across the universe. Even if we could leave Earth, we wouldn't be able to discover any other worlds. That's because the path to the divine world can only be taken using a specific method. And I'll do my homework properly next week. And I'll finish everything. Mom, how long will the trip take? Quite a few days, Jessica replied. Really? Emily immediately felt a sense of novelty. She started laughing. Dad, do they have spaceships there like the kinds we see in science fiction movies? Of course, Cameron replied with a smile. Although Divine World cultivators are extremely powerful with their martial arts, they're just as advanced with their technology. They have things we've never even dreamed of. But I don't know much about that area, so you'll have to wait and see for yourself. I do know that the wealthier people will have their own unique cursed beasts like many. How amazing! Emily's eyes were wide. Is the Divine World dangerous? For example, if we're on a spaceship, will other ships shoot at us? If our ship gets damaged, we'd suffocate in space, wouldn't we? Don't worry about that. Cameron told her. The ship will be equipped with all kinds of defensive arrays, and it can also jump through space to get away from danger. There are also a few star bandits, but basically, the people are the same as they are here. There are good ones and bad ones, rich and poor, strong and weak, but most of them are somewhere in the middle, and they don't have any intention of hurting you. They must live very different lives than we do, though, Emily said. If the Dragon Star region is so huge, but the Dragon Star domain is just a small part of the Divine World, Cameron explained. Most people stay in their local area. You'll understand after we get there. So, the Divine World is similar to the United States? Yes. What's so amazing about that? Do they have flying cars, or cyborg people, or talking cats? Is everything gray and clean, like in the sci-fi movies? Dad, I know I've heard you say in the past that the divine world is very dangerous. Emily pointed out, strength is everything there. Cameron responded, the big fish eat the small fish, and if you're unlucky, you might encounter a shark. But on the other hand, you might not. Anyway, the three of us have a lot of strength, and we'll be able to handle almost anyone who wants to cause trouble. It's fun to listen to you talk about these places. Jessica said, you've had a much more exciting life than I have. Honestly, I haven't been to very many places either. Cameron told her, but we're in no hurry to accomplish any goals right now, so we should take the time to travel. In his previous life, Cameron had cultivated alone for 500 years. It had been a lonely life. He had worked much harder than most cultivators, which was why he had succeeded. Emily shouted with joy, yay! She loved traveling. I can't believe we're actually going to see the Dragon Star Domain. Cameron coughed lightly. Well, just a small part of it. After all, we have to get back in time for your next semester of school. Emily was immediately yanked back to reality. School? She covered her face with her hands. All right, junior high. After they ate dinner, Emily ran to her bedroom and started on her homework. There was a lot of it, and she had made plans to go out with Macy the next day. So she needed to work hard if she hoped to finish it all by the end of the following week. As the night deepened, and Emily focused on her homework, the promise of adventure hung in the air. Jessica sat by her side occasionally, offering help or encouragement. The soft glow of the lamp illuminated the room, casting a warm ambiance. With each completed assignment, Emily's excitement for the upcoming journey grew. She imagined the wonders of the lost continent, the majestic Milky Way falls, and the unknown adventures that awaited them in the Dragon Star Domain. The prospect of leaving Earth and exploring new realms added a spark to her mundane routine. As Emily delved into her studies, she couldn't help but wonder about the challenges and mysteries that the divine world held. The notion of entering different cultures, advanced technologies, and potential dangers fueled her curiosity. She imagined the vastness of the universe and the countless possibilities that lay beyond. Amid this anticipation, Jessica looked at her daughter with the mixed emotions of pride and love. She recognized the significance of these moments, a family bound by both blood and the shared pursuit of the extraordinary. As a mother, she cherished the chase to witness Emily's growth and the unfolding of her adventurous spirit. Meanwhile, in the quiet hours of the night, Cameron continued his cultivation. The energy in the training room vibrated with a sense of purpose, a dedication to strength that went beyond the ordinary. His mind focused on the journey ahead, on ensuring his family's safety, and embracing the challenges that awaited them. As the days passed, Emily diligently completed her winter homework, fueled by the promise of a thrilling adventure. The house echoed with laughter and discussions about the magical places they might encounter. The lost continent in the Dragon Star Domain became the focal point of their dreams. Finally, the day of departure arrived. The family gathered, bags packed, ready to embark on a journey beyond the familiar boundaries of Earth. As they stepped onto the spaceship that would take them to the Dragon Star Domain, a mix of excitement and determination filled their hearts. The spaceship lifted off, leaving Earth behind, and the family of cultivators looked forward to the unknown challenges and wonders that awaited them in the vast expanse of the divine world. And so, with the promise of adventure echoing in their hearts, they ventured into the cosmic unknown, ready to explore, grow, and face whatever destiny had in store for them. Dear listener, this episode marks the end of the show, God Among Men. Thank you for being a part of this incredible and divine journey. For more such stories, explore the content available only on Pocket FM.
Thank you for listening to A God Among Men. Please subscribe to The Story Thief to get instantly notified on new episodes. And stay tuned for more.